National Central University. I'm working at the Center for Space and Remote Sensing Research. This is the title. And here below, you can see some QR codes about my research profile, ResearchGate, Google Scholar, and my laboratory, hydrology remote sensing laboratory. And so this laboratory was started in the year 1996, and it introduced my research team. And for the other one, the last one, the Drought Hub, was recently started, primarily working on drought research and heat stress and their impacts under the context of climate change, global warming. On the right-hand side are logos of the NCU, our center, the lab, and the Drought Hub. I prepared 6 sessions. Introduction, methodology, the global validation trends of the drought research, AI vulnerability assessment, and socio-economic impacts and case studies, and finally conclusions. I think here many are scholars. So for the first introduction session, I will go through quickly, and then introducing the innovative index that we presented, published in the literature in recent years. And then the use of the indexes for drought research, and then the economic impact of drought on industry. So this shows the exposure to climate change risks going high. This is expected by us. And this shows the hydrometeorological extremes that impact us nowadays, including cyclone storms. Storms, and this is too much water, too little water, that's a drought, and also the heat impact, drought and heat impact, as shown on this side. The animation doesn't work. Okay, and this page shows the research topics mainly conducted in my lab, and on the right side, you can see that we are working on cyclone or typhoon, eco-environmental vulnerability assessment, and drought and heat wave, and also public health. So these are the research topics my research team is working on. And this shows the impact of drought. A few years ago, Taiwan was hit badly by drought, and Taiwan's industrial, especially Taiwan semiconductor chips production was threatened. And at that time, I was interviewed by the media primarily, certainly are very concerned with the impact of the drought on the production of the chips. As you know that TSMC produce the high-end chips to supply the whole world, and the drought has threatened the production. So, although Taiwan, we received a lot of rainfall, but due to the terrain impact, we could not keep the water on land for sufficient time to supply the industry, the human, the people. So that when we are lack of the typhoon to hit Taiwan, you know, typhoon, tropical cyclone bring more than 60% of fresh water to Taiwan. Other than the typhoon, the fresh water mainly come to Taiwan with the monsoon. So a few years ago, we suffered seriously about the impact of the shortage of water. And I have been working on the drought research. So in the recent years, we proposed a few new indexes. The first one was NDLI, Normalized Difference Latent Heat Index. I think the scientists working on remote sensing all over GIS know NDVI. And NDLI we utilize one additional channel, shortwave infrared, to enhance the sensitivity of the index to surface water availability. NDVI itself is sensitive to the greenness level of the surface, but not about the surface water availability. With additional information of additional channel, shortwave infrared, we propose NDLI in the equation. And this index is sensitive not only to the greenness level, but also to the surface water availability. So we presented the NDLI in one of the top journals in remote sensing, IEEE TGARS, Transitions on Geoscience and Remote Sensing, a few years ago. Later, we proposed another new index, SWATI, as shown here. It's a function of NDLI, NDVI, and then surface temperature. And this allows us to detect the dryness or drought status of the land. We present it in TGARS as well, and show that its assessment of the global dryness as shown on the right side. And later, this shows the trends of the use of the SWATI on the drought monitoring. And we present it, utilize it to study the whole world drought situation and forecast the drought phenomenon, and present the trend of the drought for the whole Earth. And then this shows the area statistics of the drought trend for different land cover types and climate conditions during the study period, 20 years. And this is to incorporate AI to forecast the drought phenomenon. They are all published in papers, and then I will show you the papers. If you are interested, you can either we can talk here or refer to the papers. And this paper, we focus on the study of the drought or dryness in Australia, and it's by using SWATI, and we came up with a new index, RSETI. It's presented in the journal Remote Sensing of Environment. It's one of the top journals in the field of remote sensing. And from this, we can see the drought circumstance situation for the whole Australia. And during the review, we were asked to compare the index with other existing index like TVTTI or TVSDI, and we showed that the new index we presented outperformed the other existing indexes. Okay, and this shows the impact of drought on market, and we this was a work to assess impact of drought, and we showed that the financial, the climate risk to financial sector, and it's found that it increased the cost of equality by 5% in the study. And so here we mainly compare the business, the problem, the growing water scarcity risk in Taiwan. Mainly we compare, here's a quick core question raised. The core question for investors and the C-suite, how does this physical risk translate into measurable financial risk for publicly trade companies? And here we are interested in the impact of the drought on semiconductor industry. So here we mainly study the impact of drought economic consequences, and it shows the impact on probability. The finding exceptional drought has statistically insignificant and lack a negative impact on the profit of both traditional industries and high-tech sectors. So we collected the statistics from the stock and come out the quantified. The cost of equality for the food industry increased by 5%, as shown here. So this is another case study for 2021 Taiwan century drought, slow onset disaster monitoring drought. Taiwan has a tourist site, the Summer Lake, quite well known. And during this year, actually for 1 year earlier, Taiwan, we did not have any cyclone. But for the next year, in the springtime, no monsoon, no fresh water, no precipitation for the first half year. Then we suffered very serious drought condition, and that was the situation shown. And this shows the use of estimate of the drought vulnerability for Taiwan. And here shows that the inferential factors were used to study the drought vulnerability for the whole Taiwan. And we used 19 factors for this study. For each page, actually, they are presented in the paper, so the detail can be found if you are interested in any of the contents. Okay. And we studied the equal environmental vulnerability assessment, and not only the equal environmental vulnerability, but also the vulnerability assessment for different natural disasters. Like this case, it's about typhoon. And for different types of vulnerability assessment, the main difference for these studies are about the inferential factors used for the specific topic of interest. For example, like an equal environmental vulnerability assessment, we consider those factors that influence the environment. For the typhoon vulnerability, we have to consider the factors that influence the typhoon behavior. So then the different types of parameters are used, like shown here. As I said that the different factors are used. For this one, this is another work, I think quite interesting. It shows the eco-environmental vulnerability assessment for the whole Earth. Before pandemic, we utilized 16 influential factors and studied the vulnerability level for the whole Earth. The red line, the red color represents serious condition. The green means the environment is good. So this is before pandemic. We conducted before we face the challenge of pandemic. And during pandemic, we see that the whole Earth become green. So that during pandemic, we conduct actually after pandemic, we repeat the same similar study and produce another global map here. So you can see that the whole Earth becomes green during pandemic. This tells us that the human factors are the major cause of the environment degradation. And this shows the vegetation. Okay, this is about the vulnerability to typhoon. I will skip this. Okay, so here shows some actionable insights as shown here about the water governance, interdisciplinary collaboration, NCU Drought. So I'm here actually for CCD connection, cooperation, and development. Connection, cooperation, and development. So I am looking for talent postdoctoral fellows. I have a position available and welcome talents to contact me. And behind this is a list of the papers my research team published in recent years. If you are interested in this presentation, you can ask for the PDF file from the host. So I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Liu. I'm sorry we couldn't have much of time for a better and more elaborate presentation. We had to cut it short, but climate crisis is something that we are all grappling with, and your presentation is an excellent endeavor towards understanding the ways and means by which we can really counter it. Thank you very much. The only thing I would like to point out that probably when you were developing an acronym for soil water,
surface water availability and temperature.
Swati is a very popular name in India. I thought probably since you are coming, you developed that index.
No, I don't know that. I know SWOT. SWOT is a hydrological model, but I did not have knowledge about SWOT.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
If there are any questions, please send it to me, and we will discuss it at the end of the final discussion.
So give us a moment for felicitation. Our scholars will come and felicitate you.
Thank you. And now I call upon Professor R.B. Bhagat, my good friend and also undeniably an authority in the studies on migration, and he would be speaking on migration, migrants, and the right to the city, a very exciting topic that we are all looking forward to listen to. 15 minutes, Professor Bhagat. 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Uh, so first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Arindam for inviting me, and thank you to Chair. And if you recall, Chair has remarked in the morning, right to the city, so he has already introduced. So my topic of presentation is migration, migrants, and right to the city. And the abstract has appeared in page 30, that Roman numerals, you can see it. So these are three words: migration, migrants, and city. And this needs a little bit elaboration. For example, let's start with migration. What is migration? Migration is a form of mobility which involves change in residence. So it is a form of mobility. There are many forms of mobility which does not involve change in residence. For example, I have come from Mumbai, staying here in Siliguri for 3 days and then go back. This is a type of mobility. This is not a type of residential change. So it is mobility. Mobility is very important. Mobility is something foundational to our existence. And mobility also comes with immobility. So mobility and immobility has entered into our social structure in shaping. So if you look at industrial revolution, what was happening? There was huge rural to urban migration was taking place in Western Europe, and the serfs were migrated, liberated. So what was the serfdom? Serfdom was a system of immobility. So in the context of India, Dr. Ambedkar said that if you give the opportunity of migration to the lower caste people, caste system will collapse in the village economy. What is the main ingredient of caste system? Immobility. So certain higher caste having opportunity of being mobile, priestly class, warrior class, caste, and trading communities, trading castes, they have opportunity of being mobile. But what about the laboring caste? They are tied with the land in the village economy. So why I am telling this? This is the mobility is the foundational, what it is called in philosophy, ontological basis. Ontological basis of. So mobility rights are very important. And the Constitution of India guarantees right to move is a fundamental right of every citizen under Article 19 of the Constitution. So when this article, when we read this means mobility. What happens? State can take a person's mobility right. Somebody is offender. What happens? The person is caught and put behind the bar, put in the prison. That is, what is the meaning of that? Right to mobility is snatched. Right to mobility can also decline. We are aging, and then sometime we will not be able to move. So we will going to lose our right to mobility. So right to mobility is very important. Then that's why migration. Migrant is a person who migrates several times. So person is one, maybe migrating at the time of birth, parents are taken. As a children, after marriage, first employment, second employment, there are lots of migration, there are lots of move, but person is one. So mobility rights are uncompromising. It is our existence. But migrants' rights are not uniform. There are many migrants who are vulnerable. So migrants relate to the city. How cities are formed? Look at cities, any city, and try to study historically. Cities are formed through migration. Cities are the product of migration. Otherwise, cities are planned by the government or some capitalist, some industrialist can plan the city. But historically, cities have grown. So I will not discuss, time is short, but just in short, I am trying to tell city, which is made by the migrants historically. So then what happens? Who claims the city is ours? Who becomes the native? Natives are those who have migrated before, sometime back in history. Those who migrated back in history are actually they claim to be the natives. So this is how the difference between natives and migrants come into existence. Now city, when we call city, then it becomes very important how it is related with migrants. And there are a lot of migrants who are very vulnerable, and how cities are produced, how cities are centers of production. So here, the labor is becoming important. So informalization of labor, so informal is not okay, it's fine, because informality is something very predominant. But then there is a precarity. And then now there is a gigification. Gig workers are coming into. It's becoming highly vulnerable, insecure. So what is happening? Can we run the city? Can we make the city without construction worker, without sanitation worker, without vendor, hawkers, domestic workers, restaurant workers? There are innumerable, you can see. City can stop without these people. But what is happening to the people? So that's why right to the city. So right to the city is about how we imagine, how we build our cities, which is inclusive and sustainable. It is a type of imagination. But then you say, why right to the city? We have right to education, we have right to health, we have right to maybe housing. Everybody will get pakka house by by 2020, 47 or something like that. Why? Now, rights cannot be seen in isolation. One rights cannot be seen independent of other rights. Rights of education will be fulfilled without rights of health being fulfilled. No, it is a condition, and therefore we must have a spatial approach to rights. A spatial approach to rights is about right to the city. Right to the city where the rights are converging. All rights converge together. Right to education, right to health, right to housing, right to adequate wages, decent work, everything. How we build the city. So cities are very important place, and it is about people and place relationship. Cities influence us, and we make cities. And what type of city we make depends upon that our vision and our political will. So, right to the city is actually it's umbrella rights. It is not the right to enter into the city, but it is a right that urban amenities and all sorts of rights will be available to the people, whether within the city, to the inhabitants of the city, or otherwise. And therefore, question is how to imagine and how to build, how to promote or make an architecture of urbanization. So, if you look at our urban policy, in our Professor Kundu is here, who has been written a lot, and I have learned a lot from his writing. If you look at urban policies and programs, largely urban policies and programs are urban development programs. We don't have policy of urbanization. And that is how that there is a deficit in the right to the city. So it is not that people should come to the city, but city will go to the people. And how this can happen? One of the models was given by APJ Abdul Kalam. The model was Pura. He wrote the book, Target 3 Billion Population for entire world. No, these concepts, these models have not been implemented. Although something here and there is there, it is called Urban Mission. Very paltry funding, not by the Ministry of Urban Development, but Ministry of Rural Development. But it has its. So what happens? Our programs are very sectoral, very vertical, no convergence. So right to the city is about that vision. So this is about, so it should not be misunderstood. The right to the city means entering into the city. It is the collective right. It's not an individual right. It is the right to shape the city, and by shaping the city, to shape the nation. Please recall that nations are born in the cities. Nations are born in the city. If you look at ancient republic, Athens and Sparta, in Greek states, republics, they were cities. And we have in our country also in Bihar, republics, busy republics with capital in Vaishali. So, and historically also, where the city, where the France has been produced. France has emerged from Paris, from French Revolution. From where the America has emerged. America has emerged from various cities. And it was from American Revolution, which took place in various cities of America. Cities are very, very important, and then therefore we cannot neglect cities. Methodologically speaking, we have in our social science, when we try to look at migration research methodologically, one will talk of methodological individualism or methodological nationalism. But now there is a need to talk about methodological spatialism. Spaces and places are important, and how we shape our space and place, we can make our future. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Bhagat. You have really spoken in so few words, but so much to think about and work is real challenge to the young geographers who must see a person who has written so much on migration and comes up with the most important aspect of a geographical approach, a spatial approach to migration in terms of right to the city. I was reading somewhere that we don't have footpaths, functional footpaths in this country, in most cities, because none of us walk. We drive. So the rights go to those who drive, the rights are taken away from those who walk. Pedestrians have no, and migrants are the most important element who, the poor migrants who walk or cycle. So these are issues that probably escape our eyes, but doesn't escape from Professor Bhagat's lecture. I'm sure there will be many questions. Please send it to me in writing. I'm sure Professor Bhagat will be extremely happy to answer them at the end of this. Please go ahead. And thank you for keeping to the time. In fact, you took less time than allotted to you. Next, we have a very exciting lecture in waiting from Professor Milad Chand Sharma, who would be speaking. We call him Mountain Man, and he doesn't disappoint. He talks about mountains, development and disasters, a new normal in the changing environment.
Thank you, Chair. Ma'am Achay here, so thank you for teaching us, a long time ago, and my colleagues, my friends, my students, and students. I'm going to talk something which is slightly different from what I have been doing in the past, and the incentive, the direction change came from some of the recent students who joined recently. We thought that from glaciers we will look at how glaciers and other hazards are integrating with climate change and also with the recent development. So this is exclusively on the mountains. mountain specific because I have worked in the mountains, and also because the relief provides you the potential for disasters, because the magnitude increases of the processes, and also fragility of the mountains. The Himalayas is well known to everybody. And disaster, if you look at, it's altitudinally organized. Higher you go, you have disasters. Lower you come, you again have, magnified disasters. So we will talk about these. And also, some of the areas which are vulnerable now are the trans-Himalayan areas, water deficit areas. What is happening to them? I'll just try to show in the field what really is going to happen to those people if the trend continues for a while, the present trend. Sensitive parameters are being affected. Water scarce areas are getting less waters. Population, as Professor Bhagat just said, some of the towns are the size is increasing. So that brings in a problem with the water scarcity, also water availability. So I'll try to show that. And modern development, yes. Whether we go in for constructing the hydropower, the reservoir, or widening the roads to reach the mountains. You have seen what happens in Sikkim during monsoons. The same thing happens with the other parts of the Himalayas, in Himachal, in Uttarakhand. And relationship between the processes operating upland and in the foreland, how this is, regional impact it would have. And also, how do we modernize our inquiry as Professor Kundu said, is analysis, which is more important in geography now with time. So data gathering has shifted. We used to look at the surface from the space. So today we will look at subsurface also, how subsurface data can be integrated in terms of looking at the development disaster. If you look at this is the kind of mountains we have, altitudinally organized, as I said. If you look up here, snow patches, there are potential for all kind of failures as avalanches during winter months. If you have excess snowfall, again these villages would be affected. The villages downslope will be affected, and also if the water supply, which comes from the glaciers, the melt waters from the snow, reduces, what will happen to the villages? The agriculture is gone. They will have to be resettled in some other places, and the other places we do not have. So this is the classified. Now, in the changing climate, what is happening is the disasters in terms of debris flows are increasing. So this used to be a beautiful forest. I remember Dr. Sen is here, my student, he was just starting his MPhil. So we had crossed this. There was beautiful forest. And after 10 years, this is what we see. So fast changing because the temperature has increased. Temperature has increased altitudinally also. So the snow line is getting affected, so more of meltwaters affect. Now this village, we have reached this village using the Jula. Jula was somewhere here, this side. But in 10 years it has shifted, so village land is going to get eroded, and the village is at the risk of getting washed out. So this is all to do with the climatic parameters that are happening, the changing climate parameters. Now this village, again, precariously sits there on the debris flow frame, but every year they have to vacate this village during the spring season. When the melt increases from the glacier and snow melt comes. So you can think of, you can imagine the bridge, the size of the bridge which has been washed out, which used to link this village. Changes in cryosphere in 2 decades, what we see is solid ice is melting fast. So on an average, if you look at It doesn't work. Mm. Changes are taking place, but not drastic. But what is threatening is the thickness of ice is changing fast. So thickness is going. So once the thickness goes, the frontal changes will occur faster. So this trend is, threatening trend for the future. We try to measure it using stakes. Now, the distance that you see between them. Now, in 7 years time, this is what has happened. This has just gone. So this is in the accumulation area, the 4,700 meters. So the upper areas are getting affected. That means the present trend is definitely going to affect the Himalayan water resource adversely if the trend continues for this century. So we will lose much of the ice which is stored here. So decadal changes, which I've been showing it for a long time. So if you look at decadal changes, there is no stoppage. It's just going piece by piece over the years. So if you see how the changes are taking place. So pictorial from here, and it's going back and back. But surface is thinning at the rate of about 20-25 centimeters a year. Although we have considerable ice, averaging about 40 meters in this glacier, but losing 20 centimeters a year is a threatening trend. It's huge changes. But frontal, yes, 5 meters, roughly about 5 meters that we are losing. Now, this is a typical example of water deficit area, whatever option. This is Laytown down there. Down there is Laytown, and the water source for Leh is from Puche Glacier, which is 1 square kilometer, small glacier, possibly 30 meters thick ice, and they are making this water tank, huge. Ice is melting very fast, town is spreading very fast. So what is going to happen in the future is that township is not going to get the waters, fresh waters from that. So this is something which has to be related to the development of its town. Those who have been to Leh, they know how fast it's expanding. I remember going during 1985 after my MPhil to Leh. It was a small town, but now it has expanded. So, and the problem is this melting waters, melting ice is creating these lakes to grow. So we are looking at these also, Professor Day has shown in the morning. So these lakes we are monitoring now, not just monitoring, we have done the inventories, we have monitored, and now we are looking at the volume. So volume change through our collaborative research with Nagaland University, Sikkim University, G.B. Pant Institute of Himalayan Environment, and NCPUR Goa. So this winter ice is really, the streams freeze, and the meltwaters can help during the sowing season, which is taken as ice stupas back in Ladakh, right? But in other areas, this is there as natural source of water for irrigation. Trans-Himalayan as we go. We are losing this. This is being lost very fast. The permafrost area is getting lost very fast. So we are doing, we are looking at the subsurface, as I said, subsurface also we are monitoring. Some of the villages are getting affected because the permafrost is subsurface ice is melting fast. So villages, this village, if you look at this entire village is now, the entire slope is getting mobilized. It's sliced, you see, this is getting sliced, the entire frontal area. And there are fissures up there, so the entire village slope is going to go down because subsurface ice has melted fast, and this is how the village land is collapsing. These are certain, indications of the climate, the natural, but then human development, you make the roads, you bring down the slopes also. So one has to think about this. And again, expanding the road network, there was a question in the morning, there was a presentation in the morning about the roads. So you construct the roads, you have all the fumes going, you have all the dust particulates. So these are something which affect all these glaciers and glacier meltwaters. Can you play this video, this short video of looking at subsurface changes which we are getting the data for? Start quickly, yeah. नहीं फुल स्क्रीन में ही स्टार पे करने It's a short video. स्टार पे क्लिक कीजिए. Now, this is the subsurface. Surface we have seen. From Google, we can see each and every inch of the earth. But subsurface, how things are happening. So ice volume we have tried to capture here using GPR. It's difficult task, it's riskier. But then we have got something like 125 meters of ice thickness. But as I said, 20 centimeters to 25 centimeters we are losing every year. Next one, please. Start with it. Now, we are also monitoring, as I said, the glacier melt, the frontal areas, the expanding pro-glacial lakes, and the potential disasters which will affect the areas. These villages are going to go. If this upland, you can see the lake which is expanding, this is expanding very fast. So if this fails, this entire village, which is a tourist village, is going to go down. Can you play a short video here? So we are capturing, as I said, not the surface, but subsurface also. If with a joint project with Nagaland, Sikkim, GB Pant, and Ensure, which is funded by DST as well as Ministry of Earth Sciences. So you can see this robotic thing which will go all, you can monitor, it will get you the data, and you know whether this water is, how thick the water is, how solid the banks are of the lake, how fragile the system is, so how long it will last. Next one. The main problem here is we are expanding into different sectors like agriculture to horticulture now. So horticulture is again area which gets affected by repeated variability, increasing variability of climatic parameters, whether it's snow, whether it's rain, whether it's temperature. So one has to redefine or define those agroclimatic regions and teach the farmers what should be grown in which area and how should we go about. This is all gone. This is all finished. Next one. And this is to thank you. I hope I have not taken, I think 1 minute extra I have taken. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. No, you are not 1 minute extra. You are 1 minute short. So, thank you. Yes, the questions, if any, would come here, and we can answer them later. But it was a brilliant presentation in those traditions of geography where field work was the lifeblood of any geographical understanding. And I'm sure Professor Milak will receive quite a few questions. We are going on time, so if other two presenters cooperate, then we'll have 10 minutes for discussion and question and answer. Please, go ahead. Now I invite Professor Abani Kumar Bhagavati from Guwahati University, who has been teaching there quite some time before retirement from there, but continues incessantly working among the people and writing in people's language, and a concerned geographer, very rare to find in these days. And we are going to listen to him speaking on region and regional development, questions of sustainability. You have 15 minutes, sir.
So, Honorable Chairperson, participants, and my colleagues, student friends, I'm very, very happy to be here this afternoon dealing with a very small problem. Actually, Professor Hegel, the last book he wrote was on the quantox, biography of a English region. So his home area was Somerset area, and you know about him. And he tried to actually simplify many of the things, very hard things, in his well-read book, Geography and Modern Synthesis, and later on Geography of Global Synthesis. So, he died last year, 25 February 2025, last book in 2012. What I personally realized, because I met him and I had some interaction with him up to his, up to 2023. Then I think how to integrate ecosystem and space, the geographical space and ecosystem. He, in his Geography and Modern Synthesis, he tried to define the geographical approach as an integration of the spatial system in the ecosystem. And in most cases, take for example, the ecological networking is there, ecosystem. It is necessarily prepared kind of system, and we have imposed, hundreds of networks over that. And road network, I think the most important and most dense network that is imposed over the natural network. And how to look into this kind of things, that I actually wanted to see. Next, please. So, this is by Lester Brown, Eco-Economy. So normally ecology, in 1922, we developed the concept of human ecology. Then the anthropologists, they developed cultural ecology, and we borrowed that, and we also discussed those cultural ecology and all that. And now political ecology. In India, we have very little discussion on political ecology. So therefore, this ecological economy, this is very, very important for us. I think that book by Lester Brown actually opens certain new ideas, very close to us, close to geography. And that was his remark. I don't like to read that remark, but this remark is very, very important. Next. Another, Edward Wilson, a great biologist from Harvard, the diversity of life. This is also very, very important, and it has a close connection with geography. And how we can see all these kind of things, from geographical perspective. That is what I wanted to discuss here, very simply. Next. Why region? Why regional development? Is there a divide between rural and urban areas? Why the question of sustainability? These are the small things I wanted to answer. Next. Rural-urban divide, this is also very important. Normally in geography, we used to learn about the rural-urban continuum. Then town and country planning. There is a close connection between the rural and urban all these things. But then we should also see whether there is a divide between. As we all know, in 1800, the world had a population of about 1,000 million. In 1800, 1,000 million out of the total population of the world, actually 2% lived in the urban areas. 98% is the rural areas. There were 2 million cities, London and Paris. In the southern hemisphere, no million cities, no large cities. Now, the urban population at present is about 55% of the total population. And it is predicted by the demographer that after 20 years, urban population will be 75% and the rest 25% will be rural, and the world is going to be an urban world. And in that context, we should see the changing rural-urban relation. That I wanted to actually discuss. Next, why do you create region? That is a question since the beginning. Region in question, so a lot of discussions on region. And Peter Haggett, in his very famous book, The Geographer's Art, he referred to the book by O.H.K. Spade, India and Pakistan. He actually he told that was the best, regional geography of a very important subcontinent region, India and Pakistan. And the method of writing, method of regionalization, that he Professor Haggett called it best. So therefore, the regionalization from meso to macro, and integrating the micro area with the macro area, meso area, that is a very, very important challenge before us. I wanted to discuss these things. Then, this is again, I think very simply, Professor Haggett in his book, Geography and Modern Synthesis, he tried to analyze how region evolves. And these are very, very small and very general kind of geographical, elements. Environmental challenge, then human response. So wherever a group of people live, start living in that particular area, they have to actually face this challenge. And they will respond to the environmental challenge, respond to the environment. And because of that response, ultimately, the regional mosaic will emerge. Small region, big region, or simple region, complex region, whatever it may be. Then there will be hierarchy of region. Powerful region, less powerful region in that way. Then ultimately, the inter-regional stresses. Long back, I think in 1972-73, he developed this sequence of human response to environment and the inter-regional stresses. I think this kind of very simple interpretation is very important. And everywhere we find, therefore, the inter-regional stresses everywhere we find. And maybe within the nation and sometimes among the nations. Next, please. Microregion is a special unit for development. The microregion may be an existing territorial unit, a formal planning unit, a space inhabited by a particular ethnic group, defined by physical features like water catchment, defined by functional interrelationship like market interrelation, defined by resource basis of area. So this, I think, I don't know that those who are involved in the macro scale, sometimes they at the national level, sub-national level, maybe international level, things may emerge in a different way. And it is the combination of the small areas, small elements ultimately results in the big events or the geographical expressions in the bigger areas. But then sometimes what may happen, the macro interpretation may mask some ground realities and the macro realities. So therefore, we should develop a good connection, integration of micro and macro. unless we have a macro idea, then also it is difficult to actually interpret the micro area. So macro level understanding is very much necessary. At the same time, if we miss or if we misinformed or if we disinformed about the personality of the micro areas, then the macro interpretation may also be sometimes misleading. So therefore, there is a need to actually analyze events, elements, problems at micro level to see. I personally find that in biology there is a branch called cell biology. In geography also we should have a cell geology, cell geography. Cell geography means a micro level geography to interpret a micro area, maybe a village or a combination of village. If that kind of understanding or experimentation or you can say testing, if that is missed, then we may not be able to interpret the meso level problems or macro level problems. Therefore, next please. So micro, we all know that there may be a combination of some villages that may form a area, almost homogeneous area, and then some micro areas may form a meso area, and ultimately the macro areas. How to integrate this? This is, I think, I don't know. Professor Nayak also, he is an expert in this field, because all people from JNU earlier, they were very much concerned about this regional development, region in question, all these things. So therefore, they know better than me how to integrate the micro and macro, all these kind of things. Then please. We actually carried out a study in a village. That was just like a cell geography, CELL, cell geography. Actually, this was a project, collaborative project, and Kyoto University, some scholars were involved with us. And this village, we actually tried to identify the land holdings, about 400, slightly more than 400 land holdings in this way, and tried to see the soil type, then the crops cultivated, then everything at household level. And this kind of understanding, some Professor Kaur is also there. We ultimately brought out a book on this, a more than 200 page book in Assamese, not in English, in my mother tongue, because our local people must understand. If I write a good book in English, our people will not understand. Therefore, first we just brought out the book in Assamese, then we shall translate it in English. And we had a very good results. Please, next please. These are all, land use pattern at cell level. Then the distribution of wetlands. Normally we study wetlands, natural wetlands, but in a village also there may be natural wetlands and man-made wetlands. So in 400 households, there were about 300 ponds, man-made ponds and natural ponds. We surveyed and we discussed the water resources or maybe plant resources available, fish resources available in that area, and the relation of the people and these micro wetlands. Then this is again the home gardens. This is a very important issue. We have started doing research on this because in Assam, every household they have a home gardens. It's just like a small forest, micro forest. So we identified the micro forest home gardens in this way and tried to see the biodiversity of those areas and people's relation with the home gardens. That is a very, very interesting issue because recently the global risk report, last report 2026, that has come out. And there it is referred that there is an ecological collapse. In Great Britain, David Simon is a good friend of mine, and he has written that in UK people are very much worried about. There is a collapse of in a global level. There is a collapse, ecological collapse. Then in regional, and national, and the local level also some kind of collapse is there. And this is a very serious matter. Anyway, please. Then there's there's inequality. I have noted the inequalities. In regional study normally we must look into the inequalities because the aim is to have a balanced regional development. So this inequality is very much a great concern for us. Next please. showing the inequalities. Next, then the poor countries. Then the gender inequality, opportunity, then economic inequality for all these, how these inequalities reflected in region. In regional frame, all these, how these are reflected. That is our, I think, most important concern as geographers. Then the efforts of regionalization from the beginning. We have various efforts. That means the agricultural systems of the world, from agricultural systems to the present day ecological realms, all these things are there. Please, go ahead. Go ahead. Then United Nations, yes. This was the base scheme developed by SPIT to divide India into macro, meso and micro region. Then the sustainable regional development, this is the core concern of my, what I wanted to present before you, but then time doesn't permit, but this is, I think, very, very important. So space, then ecosystem, then sustainability. If we can integrate this, the area, then the ecosystem of that particular area and the question of sustainability, then that will be a very good, very meaningful geographical work, and that will be recognized by others also, and that will be an interdisciplinary kind of actually exercise, discourse, and that will impress. We shall be able to impress upon all the people who are involved in development as well as policy making. Just 1 minute, please. Then yes, this is the diagram. This is not developed by somebody else. Regional sustainable development. The sustainability principle, this is very important. Fairness principle, the equity, justice and all these things. Then commonality, then sustainable social development, how to integrate all these things in a regional framework. That was my actually intention to discuss here. Then this is a small, just a poem-like expression by me. The sky is down. The polluted sky is coming down. The rising sea level. The sky is down, oceans are up. The green looks brown. Everywhere towns and towns. Oh my friend, please call geography to map and manage cells and genes, regions and subregions that characterize the earth and its people. Down them to the ground. Down them to the roots, leaves and fruits. Train them. Train their brains to sustain to the last from regions to commons. Namaskar.
Thank you, Professor Bhagavati. I think your poem summarizes what exactly you wanted to say in so many words. We are running against time. Now I invite Professor Ashish Kumar Saha to Professor Ashish Kumar Saha is from Delhi University, and he will be speaking on potential of artificial intelligence and machine learning in geographic analysis, opportunities and challenges, something on which I would like to learn from him, because we are all challenged technologically at my age, and I'm sure Professor Saha will be of great help to each one of us. But unfortunately, Professor Saha, you being the last speaker, you will have to suffer a greater cut in the time allotted to you. Can you manage it within 10 minutes, sir? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am the last speaker, and after late lunch and such a beautifully arranged and very delicious lunch, I think everybody must be very, very sleepy. And I don't know how many of you have still patience. Maybe I'll take this here. How many of you have still patience to listen to all those kind of things? Because still for the geographers, these words appears to be very, very strong and too much technical, because I know that the geography is divided into two groups. One is the quantitative, another one is the qualitative. Somewhere it is science, somewhere it is social science, and everybody run away from all those kind of mathematical computations and all. And suddenly this particular bomb has jumped into our court that we have to go with this, otherwise our sustainability becomes a real challenge. So at this point of time, I just try to simplify all those things. Rather, I'm not going to teach that how AI ML can be done or how it can be implemented. Rather, it will be my take on this particular subject. Particularly my message to the young scholars who will be taking up this particular thing in the further direction and how they can actually take into this and jump into it, or maybe those senior geographers who are not so acquainted with it, but they have a huge repository of data. So that data sets can they can actually put into the analysis and brings lot of new dimensions from those analysis. So basically, I'm not sure it is. Okay, yeah, please you continue. I leave this. Okay, so basically here I am actually trying to show the shift from this traditional geographic analysis to more predictive, automated and dynamically adapted framework for interpreting our rapidly changing world. So, so far we are mostly on the expert-based judgment and all, based on the studies and based on our observations and all. And from there we are jumping into data, more and more data. So it is our anticipations that the data will speak about the thing. Yes, that is also a different kind of thinking about that. I am not contradicting and I am not putting down all the